On the eve of Valentine's Day, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau's first date with U.S. President Donald Trump ended with a harmonious agreement about promoting women in the workforce. It was the Hallmark card of Hallmark cards. Trudeau, of course, identifies himself as a feminist, while Trump, against his own Lothario reputation, has declared himself the most ardent promoter of women ever created. As he himself once proclaimed in third-person speak, "Nobody respects women more than Donald Trump. I'll tell you, nobody respects women more." My daughter Ivanka always says, "Daddy, nobody respects women more than you." Since it was Ivanka Trump who purportedly pushed for women's issues to be one of the main agenda items for her daddy's first meeting with Trudeau, chalk one up on Trudeau's ledger. Notice who was sitting next to Trudeau? The first daughter. She had set both the theme and the table well. Gender parity, of course, was the much-touted cornerstone of Trudeau's decision as to who would get cabinet posts, a position that was obviously not lost on a savvy Ivanka Trump. It did not go unnoticed, as well, that the Trump-Trudeau meeting, attended by prominent women business executives and leading entrepreneurs from both countries, met in the White House's Cabinet Room, the first time Trump has used that prestigious venue since taking the oath of office. The end result was the striking of a joint task force, made up of 5 women from each country, to recommend ways to promote women-owned enterprises and boost economic growth. Those watching CNN or Fox News, however, might have wondered if Trudeau was even in Washington at all, since most of the initial focus of the day was on whether White House National Security Advisor Michael Flynn had misled the Trump administration about his discussions with a Russian envoy over sanctions, and this included directly lying to Vice President Mike Pence. Democrats, and even senior Republicans, were calling for the former 3-star general's head on a pike. So there was much for U.S. news agencies to cover. Contrast this with the visit to Washington last month by British Prime Minister Theresa May and almost wall-to-wall news coverage as Trump high-fived Britons for choosing Brexit. Then again, Americans and American presidents do not look upon Britain as a benign 51st state. After all, 35 states count on Canada as its #1 trading partner and, therefore, a direct link to an economic interdependence that equates to some 9 million American jobs. It's a reality of so much being at stake that even Trump's loudly stated America First protectionism cannot ignore. At the end of the day, however, it was a win-win for Trudeau, as a 4-page joint statement emphasized how no two countries shared deeper or broader relations than Canada and the United States. Trump, without doubt, looked uncomfortable in the joint news conference, especially with a question posed by a Canadian journalist about America's hard dealing with Syrian refugees. Different strokes for two very different folk. Trump, a hardliner. Trudeau, an embracer. Canoe News contributed to this report. Its news exposed signing off.